will not be able to give the desired results, whereas to the contrary, a person with a positive energy would always give a positive results. The positive emotions would always bring a positive efficiency. As they say, in any workplace, whatever efficiencies you are carrying, they are just like a virus. It automatically spreads. Therefore, to carry a positive emotion would generate the positivity in one's mind. And positive energies and emotions are also correlated with better health and stress management. Consequently, a person with a negative energy would be more stressed and he would require stress management, whereas a positive person would bring positive vibes and positive emotions, which have direct help not only to his health, relationship, and everything in and around him. The interpersonal relationship, the intrapersonal relationship within the society are contingent upon that. They are in fact directly at least proportional, and it can also have this thing. As such, we requested Dr. Raj Singh, the Chief Executive Officer, ARKAEduserve, Bangalore, who is also a former Vice Chancellor of Ansal University, Rayat, Bahra, GT Goenka, Amity, and he's also a TEDx speaker. And I always know that that TEDx speakers generate the positivity with their emotions and the talk. They take people in a stride. And as such, when we requested a man with an immense knowledge with education, because they say education is the bedrock for any society. And since we are largely the platform of the lawyers, they say that if the structure is good, the superstructure would be good. If the structure falls, the superstructure falls. Therefore, the man of the moment of today, who is so much interwoven with so many universities, I was just seeing that Pan India has served different universities in the capacity of Vice Chancellor. And to have knowledge from a person with so much immense knowledge and experience would take the mindset to a different level, and as well as the emotions. And there is a strong belief within myself to the effect that 1 hour of the session would generate not only positivity in the mind of a person who is listening, but also to the persons he would meet thereafter the session. It would be more like a domino effect that it will generate more and more positiveness. And during these testing times, to generate positivity is better. And they say that positive men can always bring more and more n raised to power energy. Over to you, sir. And we are quite delighted that you accepted our invite to share your knowledge. And while sharing knowledge, we are also allowing you the sharing of the screen, because the sharing is caring is the basic concept in societies if you have to grow. Kindly just check as to whether it has been allowed, though we have allowed it. So you have muted yourself. I'm allowing you to unmute.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Vikas ji, for having me this evening for this webinar. And as we discussed, depending on a very heterogeneous group of audience, we kept the topic very generic. Now, before I start, few opening comments that by the topic which I have decided, I've also put a subtitle, A Practitioner's View. I must clarify that I'm not a psychologist, qualified psychologist. And whatever I say today should be taken as something which I learned from lab called life. It should be taken as coming from someone who has headed 5 universities in 4 different states. Someone who didn't get chance to go to formal education so much, and it was learning on one's own while working, having started at the age of 16 and a half because of the circumstances. It should be taken as coming from someone who has brought up 3 children, the youngest one now being at the university level. And if nothing else, it should be taken as someone coming from someone who has been a bystander or an onlooker, looking at life closely and learning from this, benefiting from this, suffering from this. So it brings a different and diverse kind of background for me. The second thing is that if someone of you is highly qualified in psychology, please don't ask me difficult questions, rather support me. And the third thing is the onslaught or advent of technology, which you must be wondering why and how it links to emotions and efficiency. What is already happening in the fifth industrial revolution, which is after Industry 4 technologies, that technology with a heart and ethics is being talked about now. Many of the people who invented technology, they are surrendering the license and copyrights because human beings cannot surrender to technology. That's the feeling. And I was reading some of the futuristic thoughts that what sixth and seventh industrial revolutions would be, and you'll be surprised to know that they will be able to predict the behavior of human beings and emotions of the human beings.
So if you could just put it on a slideshow so that the screen becomes proper.
I'm coming there. And the current one, as I said, people are already talking about that they can predict your career trajectory. The Google, etc., have already developed this. So we are basically in that context, we'll be discussing today's topic, using emotions intelligently, a practitioner's view. When I start, I'm also reminded of what Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam said, that there are changes which are taking place, which are 2 types primarily. First one is that the technology itself, whether it's IT, communication technology, nanotechnology, biotechnology, different types of technologies. And the second, he said, is manifestation of human emotions and human will, but greatly expedited, intensified, and facilitated by the technology. So technology should be seen as an enabler when we talk about the emotions today. So the agenda I have kept for today's session, I'll be pointed so that we can cover the planned topics within the time frame. We'll try to understand emotions, interpersonal skills, and emotional intelligence, or popularly known as EI. Second, we'll see how are these emotions bundled inside us as human beings and how they interact among themselves. If there are different types of emotions, they interact and it gets manifested in what we do, how we relate to the outside world. Using emotional interventions in leadership and management. We all play the role of leadership or management in some way or the other. Whether it's organization small, individual practice, you're professionals, you're teachers, you're students, you're housewives, anybody for that matter. So we'll see some of the interventions which can be effectively used in this. Emotions and mentoring. All of us mentor people, whether students or youngsters, younger employees, juniors, younger brothers and sisters, anyone in the society. We'll see some of the emotions being used in mentoring as a process. And finally, we'll look at some of the money transactions and emotions, which I think should catch the interest of almost everyone, because money is understood by each one of us very well, very well. So with this agenda, let me go to the word emotions straight away. It can be looked at in 2 ways. That what do we call as emotions? How it gets manifested, how others see our emotions. And if you look at it, could be seen in the form of joy, trust, fear. I'm surprised to listen to something or to know something, to read something. Sadness is an emotion. Sometimes I don't feel like talking to anybody. I want to be left alone. Disgust, maybe slightly more intense a feeling or emotion. Anger, even intense. Anticipation, I'm in anticipation, good or bad, I'm not sure, but there's a kind of inquisitiveness, there's a kind of anxiety, there's a kind of excitement to think of what may be the outcome. So there's some of the manifestations of our emotions or feelings, which everyone who's a human being has these kind of emotions. If you look at what perhaps shapes our emotions, our physical well-being or otherwise, if I'm not keeping well, my emotions will not be as positive as they would be if I'm healthy, fit, and fine. My relationship with somebody, when I talk to individuals, my language, my tone and tenor, my intensity will be depending on what relationship I share with the person. It's something like when you talk to somebody at home, when you talk to your boss in the organization, when you talk to a client, our emotions which we manifest will be absolutely different. Occupation. Some of the occupations demand perhaps more aggressiveness than others which demand more soft kind of behavior. Our mind, what are our thoughts in the mind? Positive thoughts leads to positive behavior, negative thoughts will lead to negative ones. Our interests and hobbies, because that keeps us preoccupied with predominant interests and hobbies which we may have. How spiritual I am as a person. You would notice that very spiritual persons are very calm and quiet. They at least will not offend anybody. They may not help anyone, but they don't harm anybody. And these approaches we can adopt as individuals. It's not necessary that we offend somebody. I may keep silent at times, and it solves many of the problems. So there are some of the things which shape our emotions at a given point of time. Then get stuck. Huh? Yes. My request would be look at the main titles. It's a very important figure which I picked up, given by Daniel Goleman. Daniel Goleman, the person who wrote a very famous book in 1995 called Emotional Intelligence. My recommendation would be that whoever you are, whatever profession you are, whatever age group you are, if you can lay hands on this, you must read this book. It changes life, in fact. And what Daniel Goleman has done, I requested him, he sent it to me on LinkedIn, this kind of figure which summarizes his entire concept of emotional intelligence. And emotional quotient is something which measures your emotional intelligence. And he says that this is an umbrella term for interpersonal skills. We all understand interpersonal skills. There's nothing technical in this. And it constitutes of 5 things in each one of us. First one is self-awareness. If I know myself as an individual, I know how I am likely to behave in what kind of situation, and sometimes I may avoid an awkward situation. If I feel that I'm very assertive, I may take up that assignment which perhaps will make me more successful than anybody else. So self-awareness, which is recognizing our own emotions, strengths, and weaknesses, and understanding the impact of this on others. And confident in themselves and are aware of how others perceive them. Sometimes we wonder why so-and-so person thinks about me like this. So if I know myself, I'll get the answer automatically. I don't have to go to anybody to ask this. The second one is self-regulation. Whatever emotions I have, how I control them, how I manage them, how I regulate my behavior and emotions is extremely important. How do I control myself? In real life, the situation is that there are instances when I want to laugh, but I have to cry. And I want to cry and I have to smile. That's the ground reality. And we have to behave as individuals depending on whatever the situation is. The third one is intrinsic motivation. When everything is depressive around us, how we can motivate ourselves. That's extremely important as far as interpersonal skills are concerned. Driven by internal rewards, seek a challenge and have a passion for achieving their own goals. Many of us are self-motivated, others are not, and we get bogged down by the situation. And therefore, emotional intelligence tells us that how we can be having self-motivation from within us. Empathy, it's not sympathy. My recommendation always that don't sympathize with anybody, but empathize. Try to put yourself into their shoes and understand from their point of view. And social skills, how do you develop relationship and kind of business relationship, personal relationships with everybody? How do you communicate with the rest of the world? So these 5 constituents of interpersonal skills, which Daniel Goleman has highlighted, emotional intelligence starts with self-awareness. self-regulation, the second constituent of this, and of course, self-motivation. How do I motivate myself? And once you do that, the last two relate to others or the outside world. You can apply the same thing to others so that we are able to understand their feelings and accordingly interact with them. Because we interact almost at every second basis with the rest of the world, our environment, internal as well as external environment. Now, emotional intelligence or emotional quotient, it was first used by Peter Salovey of Harvard and John Mayer of New Hampshire in 1990. So the concept came, and it only became popular in 1995, the book I was mentioning to you. Some of you who are of my age or even elder to me, or even slightly younger, would know that in schools, we never talked about counselors. We didn't have counselors. But starting from 1990s and beyond, we started having counselors in the school. We started recognizing the stresses of modern lives. And today, it is mandatory to have a counselor in each school. Now, that's the power of emotions and how to manage it. So you need trained professionals to help us understand our emotions and also manage them. The third thing in case of emotional intelligence is that it is much less genetically loaded. We don't inherit from our parents. It's not that if my parents were emotionally unstable, I'll also be unstable, and vice versa. And therefore, one should see an opportunity in this, and that's the main topic of discussion today. You all must have heard about that famous ad of Bonvita, which say that by the age of 6, more than 90% of our brain develops, our IQ develops, intelligence quotient develops. And the rest of our life, it doesn't reach 100%. But we're busy with developing EQ or emotional quotient, because IQ plus EQ make us effective or ineffective depending on how we learn and how, of course, they interact with each other. And therefore, there's a tremendous scope for parents, teachers, mentors, and seniors or bosses, whatever term we use, to develop it in the people we interact with. It is so crucial that, believe me, we simply ignore, and just a word of motivation to somebody can change his or her life, which we don't do. Sometimes a sentence which is negative can take somebody's life away, somebody's career away, and somebody can feel absolutely terrible. That depends on how we interact with the rest of the world. Explaining it biologically or anatomically, human anatomy, if you look at, we all must have heard, I'll keep it absolutely simple, not technical. There are two sides of the brain, left and right. And we even term people that he's a left-brained people, he's a right-brained people, depending on what kind of profession they are, how they think, how they act, what kind of things they study, how creative they are, how number-oriented they are, how decision-making they are. So if you look at left side of it, or left-brained people, they believe in verbal things. They're very analytical. They believe in order. Everything should be in sequence, in order, not haphazard, not unorganized. They believe in reading and writing. Then only they believe. They won't go by hearsay. Computations, they make a lot of calculations, sequencing, logic, mathematics, thinking in words. For example, if they listen to a song, they will give so much of importance to the lyrics, what kind of wordings are there, and they'll appreciate this. Oh, wow, they'll start enjoying it. They think in words, and they think very linear in a pattern. They believe in visual languages and not on feelings and emotions. Yang, a Chinese word, means masculine, more man-like. It doesn't mean discrimination, men and women, but more masculine in approach. The left-brained people, they're very logical, number-oriented. So by now you must have understood they are the people who become more engineers and computer application people, mathematicians, who believe in logical things, geometry and other things. Whereas on the right-hand side, or right-brained people, they believe in creativity, imagination, intuition, holistic thinking. They look at the holistic picture, not a part of it. They are more inclined towards arts and humanities kind of disciplines as far as field of studies are concerned. The feelings, visual things, non-verbal things they believe in, non-verbal language or visualization or cues or rhythm and rhymes. They're the people, they perhaps don't bother so much of what are the lyrics of a song. They enjoy the melody and the music of the song. People like me, I hardly listen to what it's saying, but I really enjoy the rhythm and the melody of a song. That's perhaps I'm more towards right brain. They daydream, not only while sleeping, but they daydream. They make big plans. And it said that if you can dream, you can put it into action. So dreaming is a good thing, should not be taken as a negative thing. I remember one of the students who came and we used to ask them that what is one thought which has influenced you maximum? And you know what the student said? I'm talking about 15, 20 years ago, and I still remember, it's so fresh in my mind. And she said, sir, a failure can be forgiven, but aiming low is a crime. And she said, if my aim is 100, I'm likely to reach 80. But if my aim itself is 70, I can never reach 80. That's the power of aiming high. That's the power of dreaming. And these people have the courage to dream. It may not be structured, but they dream and dream very, very big. And yin, more feminine kind of nature, softer kind of nature. They deal with things very delicately. They don't offend anybody as far as possible. And they're very soft and artistic kind of people. You will always find that they will be critically evaluating a drawing or a sketch or a painting. And some of us will wonder, well, I don't know what is there in this drawing or this picture. And they go on evaluating and understanding its importance. The interaction between left and right brain, technically it is called lateralization, but it is also called emotional intelligence, how they interact between two of them. And that gets manifested in what we do. And that is emotional intelligence. It is said, my IQ may give me success, but EQ gives me growth. IQ may make me a manager, but EQ makes me a leader. Subtle difference. Because after some stage in career, you would believe that my domain knowledge takes a back seat. It's my interaction, my behavior, my dealing with the people that takes a front seat. And that takes me forward in life. I have a question. You can use your chat or reactions, whatever you want to use. Vikas, I'll help you out in understanding this. I have a very, very simple question. That when you think of parent, what comes to your mind? Parent could be mother, father, it could be a teacher, could be any senior who's a mentor, any elder who takes the role of a parent. We say that after some stage we come into parental mode, you know, brothers, sisters, and they start looking after the younger ones like parent looks after. But what are those thoughts which come to your mind when you think of a parent? You can please react. You can react through chat. Parent. Are we getting some answers? Vikas? I hope everyone is there.
Only two answers. One is torchbearer and mentor. Other is by Uma Pillai, guiding.
Okay. Anybody else? You can take another 1 minute or so. I'll add some, of course. I'll add some answers. But whenever parent word comes, we get certain types of feelings. Guiding, torchbearer, mentor. In lighter vein, I can say it's ATM, anytime money. These days it's called PayTM. In the age of technology. What else? What else? And you will have both positive view of parent and negative view of parent, but mostly positive, because the relationship is so unconditional. Anyways, because time is limited, So parent, when you think of two things. One is very positive, caring, guiding, always supporting, motivating, and some of you have said torchbearer. Sometimes you say ideal in life, somebody who's there for you all the times. And there are also parents who are not perhaps so soft with us. So maybe always checking, always directing us, always saying do's and don'ts of life. And if that takes an extreme shape, it can lead to some kind of strangulated kind of feelings, which gives a negative kind of connotation to us. So based on this, there are two types of parents in each one of us. One is nurturing parent, the good things you think of the parent. And the second one is critical parent, the negative part of it, which somehow we don't appreciate. And you see every day in younger generation today, how kind of tensions in life take place. But the origin is parent kind of feelings or parent kind of relationships. Same way, what do come to our mind when we think of an adult? How to define an adult? And please don't misunderstand, it's not biological age of 17 or 18 or 19 years of age. In terms of purely behaviors and feelings and manifestations, how do we define an adult? Let me see if there are some answers. Suggesting the parent support, suggesting mostly trusted, guiding, peers. What about adult? How do you define it? Matured? No. No. Again, maturity? No. Let's move beyond maturity. Some more. Stay with this thought. Stay with this thought. It's none of these answers which you have put in here, because it revolves around only maturity. What about child? What do you think when somebody says, think of your own child, your younger brother, sister, cousin, nephew, everybody? Child, what brings to our mind immediately? I'll of course summarize, but I want to see your responses. I think they become more responsible. Not really. This is about adults. Fully grown or developed? No. Independent. Need lots of care, child. Okay. Actions. Follow and like BeyondLawCLC on Facebook. Okay, this is your message. Caring. Full of naughtiness, joy, actions. Very good, very good. I think you can check your vocabulary and you must respond. Online sessions, in any case, get so monotonous. I'll try to involve you in interaction, growing with guidance. Okay. Very good. Thank you for the responses. Let me quickly summarize what I wanted to say with the help of transaction analysis. The ego states which I mentioned, parent, out of two types, depending on how we view about it. Caring one, softer ones, motivating ones. All the positive aspect of it is nurturing parent, and the other one is critical parent. And you will appreciate that these two are bundles of emotions. One is more positive, second one is maybe less positive or maybe towards negative. Adult, as contrary to what we normally think, is a rational thinker in each one of us, but devoid of feelings and emotions. This adult has absolutely no feelings and emotions. It's like a hard disk we have in a computer. It stores data and gives us data whenever we need it, without any feelings and emotions. We may use or we may not use. As for child is concerned, there are three types: singing, laughing, crying, naughtiness, stubborn. They're all natural behaviors. Natural behaviors. Creative child, the child asks questions which sometimes can't imagine. They're very creative. It's also known as little professor. And the last one is fabricated child. when they start learning something which is not natural. For example, if they learn from us that tell uncle, dad is not at home, we learn from the environment. When they start telling lies, when they start telling something which is not true, when they start managing their expressions, inside feeling is something else, but they show some different kind of feelings. Now, the point I'm trying to emphasize here is that out of 6 individuals which constitute us, each one of us, 5 of them are bundles of emotions and 1 is devoid of emotions. This is the point I wanted to emphasize. And these different types of emotions interact among us. And they get manifested in our behavior. Somebody likes us, somebody doesn't like us. We like somebody, we don't like somebody. Also, if you look at natural child is one emotion in us because of which we are alive. Remember, we will die in case natural child is not there. And therefore, it's a very, very important part of us. And fabricated child is the root cause of all the problems. Fabricated child in us is the full drama, notanki, facade in us, in fact. Fabricated child is it's something like those things in us which we never valued, never appreciated, never respected, but they're part of our existence. Each one of us has it, in fact. You know, if we had time, I would have conducted an exercise and measured each one of you how much of each these 6 types of emotions exist in us and then interpret. So what I'll do today, having explained this, I'll take some hypothetical example and explain what it means. That's the best way to do it. Now, as I said, various possible outcomes, let me take a couple of them. NP is nurturing parent, the good one, the better one, the positive one. CP is critical parent. A is adult, natural child, creative child, and fabricated child. This is what I just explained. 6 types of emotions bundled in each one of us and they interact. I've taken 2 cases only dealing with the parent. Please don't look at the figures down below, look at the table. Now, maximum marks from each could be 30. And suppose Vikas ji or me, we have given score to ourselves through the questions and we got these scores. As I said, they can't cross 30, they have to be less than 30 because maximum is 30. So case 1, where nurturing parent is greater than critical parent, and second case is where critical parent is greater than nurturing parent. The types of emotions, the caring parent or always checking, kind of snubbing, and no, you know what I'm saying, which we don't appreciate. We differ with our parents at times, or those kind of views we don't like or don't appreciate. Now, I presume that each one of you would want me to be absolutely frank when I'm giving the feedback. And maybe with the help of Vikas, I can send that exercise and we can do it, and perhaps you can get in touch with me to understand. But right now, hypothetically, I've taken scores. In fact, they're actual scores of my workshops, which I must have done for at least 4,000 to 5,000 people in my last 10 to 15 years of career. Now, if you're not, I'll take the second one first, negative first, and then positive ones. If critical parent is greater than nurturing parent, that is 25 is greater than 20. Such people are normally not liked by others. I'm using the word normally, or they're less liked by others. Secondly, that the people normally, nobody waits for an office and nobody waits back at home in the evening. If they come late, children are happy because as they reach home, there will be curfew imposed. If in the office they come, people go silent. And they keep on praying that suppose it happens to your boss, oh my God, he's not come so good today. So nice feeling kind of things. Means people don't want to have them around as much as possible. And I keep on emphasizing normally. It depends on how much is the difference. These people, normally they have very high burnout rate. By the age of 40, 45, or maybe maximum 50, the career starts declining. They're almost voluntary retirement kind of things. They don't feel like working. The good thing about them is that they're hard task masters. They'll get the job done. Now, this is very important to understand for us in case we have people in our office, in our organization, or colleagues, that who should be given what kind of job so that we achieve the targets. So these people are hard task masters. By any means, they will get the task accomplished. Whereas the first category, or the case one where nurturing parent is greater than critical parent, everybody wants to have them around. People want to be friends with them. If they don't come to office, people start getting worried. They'll say, find out if there's everything all right. If they don't come back home on time, somebody will call up, wife will call, children will call up, parents will call up, because everybody wants to have them around. They're so caring and nurturing. These people are more likely to reach the leadership positions. Because, as I mentioned earlier, the domain knowledge takes a backseat after some time, and it's the behavior, it's the behavioral science or my interaction with others, my relationship with others, that really makes a difference. The people have some serious problems. These people are so that you can't ignore them. If you ignore them, they will take you to task. And therefore, never ignore them, and never forget wishing them in the morning if they happen to be seniors or elders. Always keep them happy, because if you ignore them, they get angry, and then only God will save us from them. But the bigger problem in the context of work and profession, or leadership or management, is that these people sometimes develop an impression that this organization exists because of me. And if I leave, things will collapse. Now, this misplaced notion about themselves is very harmful, very harmful. My message to each and everybody is that nobody means nobody, even the people who created the organization, are bigger than the organization. Organization is always bigger than employees, including the owner. Family is bigger than the family members, and we are always subordinate to that. If you have that feeling, believe me, life will be absolutely fantastic. Many of the conflicts, many of the problems can be avoided day-to-day life. And therefore, we should always think that we are smaller than organization. If you look at based on this, there are three types of foundations. You can respond which foundation according to is the strong foundation. 1, 2, 3 examples I have given. Sequence will not change. Natural child, creative child, and fabricated child on top. Bottom is natural child, top is fabricated child. Which one is strong according to you? 1, 2, and 3. Or which type of foundation you really would like to have? I'm sure you have seen foundation when you build a house or anything, how it comes up. One, two, three. Any responses? Nobody has responded so far. Okay. Naturally, it looks like this is a very, very strong foundation. Broad at the bottom and then gradually comes up. This will be very, very shaky, and this is even more shaky. How it applies to us as individuals? If your foundation is like this, depending on the scores of 3 types of child, as I mentioned earlier, natural child is the most desirable and fabricated child is the least desirable. But they're there in each one of us. These people, they call the shots. They laugh and cry at their own disposal. Whereas others are influenced by somebody else. Unki chabi kisi aur ke haath mein hoti hai. Whenever they want, they'll cry. Whenever they want, they will laugh. And these people are always busy, these 2 types of people, busy pleasing others. And remember, you can't please others at all. And therefore, focus on pleasing yourself, you'll automatically please others. So focus on a foundation like this, which means your natural child should be the highest and fabricated child should be the least out of these 3 types of emotions which we talked about in terms of child. Leadership and emotions, how do you manage? In any organization, in any family, in any setup, you can put people in any of these 4 quadrants. So on one side, we have taken whether the emotions are negative or positive, and on the y-axis, we have taken whether they're weak or strong. And based on these 2 axes, you can place everyone in the organization, society, or family into these 4 quadrants. One is anger and fear. Disappointment and frustration, which means weak negative. Weak positive is calm and comfort. They come, they go, they're happy with the work, they don't want to be disturbed, they don't want to disturb anybody else. They do measured kind of work, don't want to take extra initiatives. And then if it is positive and strong, it is called enthusiasm and excitement. And these are the people which are not more than 10% in this world in any setup. It could be 15, but somebody will also have 8 or 7. Most of the changes in life happen because of them. They are the ones who drive society. They are the ones who drive life. Now, how the leaders can use these emotions, let's quickly look at it. There are 2 types of strategies. First one is killing the dragon. Now, this is normally used in a warlike situation. And winning the princess is something through motivation. You motivate people and say, you paint a beautiful picture of the future and say we have to reach there, support them, motivate them, and take them along. Killing the dragon is for short term, winning the princess is a long term. How it happens? Leaders, what they do, they convert calm and comfort people into anger and fear, because these people are the easiest to provoke. Whenever you want a crowd, whenever you want a mob, these people who are otherwise calm and comfort, they have no standing, no kind of view. They will move whichever direction seems to be comfortable to them, or they start enjoying it. But this killing the dragon strategy is not good. It's a negative strategy. What I would recommend when you work on the emotions of others, we should use a positive strategy, which is called winning the princess. So what they do 2 things. They convert anger and fear into calm and comfort. They calm down people. They reduce, they moderate their aggression and anger. At the same time, the people who are disappointed and frustrated, you bring some kind of enthusiasm and excitement in them. This could be done through training programs, through mentoring, through some kind of incentive, through some kind of promise, some kind of pat on the back, some kind of recognition given to them, tangible or intangible. And once these 2 things happen, we start moving and achieving the objectives of organizations in a very, very positive sense. Quickly summarizing these 2 strategies, killing the dragon, leadership is ferocious, very aggressive, and at times furious, high energy, brave, very masculine. As I said earlier, yang, to give people confidence as they charge into the battle. And this strategy is used on the border when we charge our army, we charge our troops to even give sacrifice of their life. This emotion really works there. Whereas in corporates and doing something, winning the princess, for example, man landing on the moon is winning the princess. When you create wonderful things in the world, a lot of innovations happening. I mean, each one of you is so fortunate to live in this era where technology is defining the way we live, redefining the way we live. While it has so many challenges, but very, very exciting times. People like us who are not the natives of this technology advanced era, we find life so easy, so easy. And they are feminine, to give people the joy that is vital, the encouraging, the empathetic, the gentle. Even when you fight, you will say, aap karke baat karoge unko. You will respectfully address them even if you're angry. That is winning the princess, because you cannot demoralize others. It's a very, very powerful tool which was used by Dr. Sumatra Ghoshal and Hek Baruch of London Business School, and the ISB Hyderabad, first ISB Dean was Dr. Sumatra Ghoshal. Very, very powerful concept which is used worldwide in training and development. The second thing is which we use in management and leadership is when you want to bring some people out of comfort zone. So if you look at here, comfort zone is a very, very small kind of circle. As you expand, you get scared. Fear comes, lack of confidence is there. We find excuses not to move here. We get affected by others' opinion. Others will say, come on, don't do this. This will happen. They will not encourage you at times. But then if you push yourself outwards or somebody else pushes you, you get into learning zone. You start dealing with challenges. You start learning, acquiring new skills, extend your comfort zone. You expand it from small circle to bigger circle. And then if you still move beyond that, you start finding a purpose in life. You start living your dreams, and you will wonder that how things were easy. I was unnecessarily scared of it because we had never seen it. There's a beautiful saying which is said in one of the famous books, Confessions of Shameless Self-Promoters. It says how the leader can pull you out of comfort zone and make wonders happen to you. And he says, come on the edge, she insisted. I said, I will not, I'm afraid. Come on the edge, she insisted again. I said, I will not, I may fall. So at least he's not afraid. He's only saying, I may fall and I may get hurt. Come on the edge, She insisted again. This time I came, she gently pushed me, and I could fly. My message to each one of you is that whatever situation we are in, negative, positive, but always keep on pushing yourself outwards from the comfort zone, and then only growth will be realized. Because sitting at home, sitting in a small kind of circle will not help us achieve anything you want to achieve in life. And leadership and mentors have a role to pull people out of this comfort zone. And as we move out, we deal with emotions, particularly the positive ones will take us where you want to take. So this is another application of emotions in leadership and management. The final concept, I move towards the money and emotions part of it, and then of course, mentoring part of it, as we deal with this. In 2017, the third Nobel Prize was given to Richard Thaler for behavioral economics. Now we've heard economics, we've heard finance, but behavioral economics and behavioral finance are something very recent. In fact, total 3 Nobel Prizes have been given, but the last one is more prominent, where he really articulated what behavioral economics is. And he said that people behave irrationally. In most of the theories of finance and economics, or maybe even other disciplines, we assume that human beings behave irrationally. Rational behavior means you will go for an option where more profits are there. You will avoid something which is risky. You will choose something which is positive and not negative. But in real life, we don't do that. We go against this, which means that human behavior has been found irrational most of the times, on which our theories are dependent. And if we relax those assumptions, it won't work. Now, I have a question. We see it every day. I've taken a very, very simple day-to-day example, which we go through. Whenever there's a season sale in a mall, and they're offering huge discounts and freebies, what is our shopping behavior? What do we do? Suppose I go there, I go with my family, and I want to buy maybe 2 items. Will I buy 2 items or more? What will be my generic behavior? If you can help me answer, it will really be very interesting. Let's understand people's views on this. What do we do? You will buy 2, only 2? Anybody else? When you go there, the salesman said, sir, if you buy 2, the third one is, when you buy 3, the fourth one is free. Are you likely to buy the third one? When somebody says buy 4, we'll give you 2 free. They make you buy second one. They make you buy third one. Now, in summary, what happens, it just happens with me, and I have seen many people in the family. When I come back home, I'll realize that, oh my God, why did I buy what I bought? I had gone to buy only simple 2 kind of items. I ended up buying 6 or 7, and I repent. But how foolish I am at times. And I take a vow that next time I'll not do it. And believe me, we do it every year. We do it every sale. And this is what Thaler said is predictably irrational. We behave irrationally, and we behave in a predictable manner. Now, this is completely based on bringing emotions and behavior into economics. That's the point I wanted to say. So emotions affect our financial decisions also in a big way. Stock markets, for example, whenever stock markets are going down, let's say, and the COVID stuck end of March, what happened to stock markets? From 42,000, they went where? 28, 27, 20, almost as 26. The value, which was, let's say, 30 lakhs, became about 15, 16, 17 lakhs of the portfolio. And people stopped buying. But remember, the best time to buy is when the stock markets are the lowest. But what happens, the sentiments are negative at that stage. We feel that the economy is not doing well, and therefore we keep away from the markets. Where the best times to buy are when the markets are the lowest. In 1970s, in 80s and 90s, there was a great thinker called Alvin Toffler. He wrote a book, Third Wave, in 1980. You know what he said? Many of the assumptions of business will lose relevance. And he gave some examples. For example, land can't move from one country to another country, but it would become irrelevant. Sitting in a small village, you may be making some goods for a country in Europe or America, a place in America. He said, man can't move so freely, but today you move freely. You have breakfast here and dinner somewhere else, or lunch somewhere else. Capital, he said, is difficult to move. Capital is moving freely across the borders. You know what he said? All these assumptions, including, he said that to have a child, a man and woman should get married. He said this assumption will no more be relevant. You will have single parents in a society in the 21st century. But he said one thing which will remain, which has always remained, are two emotions which will drive the complete activities of mankind. They are fear and greed. Greed will make us do something and fear will stop us from doing something. And it is so true. It is so true. In last 10, 15 years, we have seen so many financial scams of great intensity, starting from WorldCom and Enron in US, and then Colgate, to the Spectrum, Commonwealth Games, and more recently, your Nirav Modi, and so many scams of involving lakhs of crores of rupees. And stock markets, of course, we know Harshad Mehta and Ketan Pari kind of scams, which involve 5,000 crores, 1 lakh crores, 2 lakh crores. There's no limit to scams. But the point I'm emphasizing is that positive and negative activities in the stock markets happen because fear and greed are at play. And in technical terms, which many of us will understand, it is called return and risk. Return is positive, which makes us do something. Risk stops us from doing it. Opportunities and threats, greed and fear. The two signs in Chinese language, danger and opportunity. The entire mankind's behavior is driven by these emotions, fear and greed. Coming to mentoring, each one of us is busy managing the truth. Normally, we don't show to the world that what I'm feeling inside. And I get depressed. I don't do well in my job. My performance is going down. I remain sad. I start having headache. My health is not keeping well. I'm not able to take quick decisions. I'm not able to innovate and be creative. A lot of things happen with us. Now, this is beautifully written by any one of us. It says, the unvarnished truth, kadwa sach, the bitter truth, naked truth. It stings, it pinches us, pricks us, it chastens, it exhilarates us, it infuriates, it makes us angry. So we choose to avoid it, or rather deny it. No, this is not happening with me. Now, this kind of things we do on daily basis. We don't accept the truth. This truth is often connected with powerful feelings and emotions that can take away somebody's career and upheaval in the life and career it can cause. What do you require? A mentor who can remove these layers of denial and make us meet the bitter truth, face it, rather than avoiding it. Very soft thing, I may sound philosophical, but just reflect on your own situation, how we need somebody who can help us remove these layers of denial. The second thing about the executive or individual or mentee or student or my junior or my subordinate is, he is more than being brilliant. IQ is fine, score marks, CBSE topper is fine. You need something more than that. He's savvy, he's tenacious, he wants to be successful, he is forceful, he's very energetic. Truly successful people are passionate about their work, they feel strongly about what they do, and their inspiration is contagious. Contagious, infectious, it catches from one person to other person. When you meet a positive person, you feel positive. When you meet a negative person, you feel negative. So it's contagious. They're energized by their work. However, unless his inner flame or inspiration and passion is lit, he will never realize his potential. You require a mentor. My suggestion to each one of you, whatever position you are in, you may not be able to help somebody financially or otherwise, but if you can motivate one person in life, your life is well lived. I request, of course, the teachers and anybody who has many people to work with. And there are two types of emotions, motivation and volition. And this will be my last concept. Motivation simply is that when I give you some incentive, I start running. When this incentive is taken away, I feel low. So motivation means stimulus and response, reward and action. This relationship is there in very, very simple terms. But if I go to the state of volition, I don't look at the reward or the incentive or the stimulus. I do it because I have to do it. can you in your organizations drive this kind of emotions? To give you some of the examples, what I mean by volition, Mother Teresa was a volitional person. Jack Welch is a volitional person. Mahatma Gandhi was a volitional person. But on the negative side, Osama bin Laden was a volitional person. Hitler was a volitional person. Alexander the Great was a volitional person. So depending on which direction you want to take the emotions, but these people do not think of what will happen to them. They don't think of the consequences. They do it because it has to happen. So what it says, they're not doing something, but they're achieving something. Volitional people have the bias of perception. They'll say, no, everything is what I think is right. They'll find information which supports their view, and they'll negate what doesn't support them. They're truly entrepreneurial people. Can you turn people from motivational to volitional, and then only we can achieve extraordinary results in life? I can have maybe in 5 minutes, Vikas ji, we have some questions if you have. Otherwise, I'm done with my presentation on emotions and how they apply in different walks of life, as individuals, as leaders, teachers, managers, and even investors and decision makers in life.
That's true.
So you can quickly shoot some question, or my mail is there. If later on you think of something, you're most welcome to write to me. Over to you, Vikas ji.
Yes, sir. After this session, actually,
yes.
Yeah. After this session, we are actually quite charged up to the fact that. So we're quite charged up to the effect that you have given us the positive directions, and what we said today on a festive day of Karwa Chauth, to get a positive energy and positive vibrations is a mindset one would actually enjoy. And what you rightly said is that even if you can charge up one person, that makes the meaningful life.
Yeah.
And we have Rashmi Nagpal. I will unmute her because
hello, Rashmi ma'am.
She's a dean. No, I'm just unmuting her. She's a dean of the Shobit University, and she also inspires.
Namaskar, ma'am. How are you?
Yeah, Dr. Rashmi. I'm just unmuting her. Yeah. Rashmi will have to.
What a pleasure to see you, ma'am.
Yeah, this word is so small, sir.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The world has become smaller with Zoom and other tech platforms.
Yeah, definitely. I could join little later because I was in the puja and then I rushed back from there. No.
Happy Karwa Chauth to all the women there.
It's been a long time. I shared with Vikas just in the morning. I said he shared with me the poster that he had circulated. So I was telling him, I said, at least you're one of the speakers. I know him well.
In fact, just before we got into the conference, talking to the Chancellor, tomorrow I have a session with your students, in fact, in the morning.
Okay, right, sir. Right, sir. This was also quite insightful as usual. As always, sessions are quite engaging. I was telling
you, I learn from people like you and put it in a structure and present it to you. That's the art I have. Not being a psychologist.
That no one else can do, I think. Thank you. That's an art. That's really an art. Yeah.
The art of distilling the things is the art which we all lawyers or a professional intend to learn. And that is where the professors and teachers also do. They read a lot, then ultimately how to distilling the entire facts and putting across is the way to move forward.
If you give me 2 minutes, I'll share a real life instance how things can really turn positive. We were doing a consultancy in Kudremukh, which is Western Ghats of Karnataka. And this company was on the verge of closure. Supreme Court had ordered this closure. We were going for the change management. So we were in the last leg of training. And one of my friend was holding a session and one of the senior person got up and said, he said that earlier you bored us to death 10 days and now 3 days. Today is the second day out of 3 days. Will you stop talking nonsense? And being 25 senior people and 4 of us, I used to work with the leading business school in Noida at that time. I'm talking of 2004 and 5. And I was leading the team, and suddenly thoughts ran through my mind that now they will check us out of this place. They'll put us in a flight from Bengaluru to Mumbai and Mumbai to Noida. And then tomorrow we'll get a nice beating from our boss. And I was sitting, my friend did not know what to say. So I just got up and said, well, friends, you have suffered us for last 8 days. Can you suffer for 10 minutes more? And rest assured, we'll go after this 10 minutes. And they say, okay, 10 minutes more of nonsense. Say what you want to say. And then what I did was that it was a change management program. And I said the entire company, 2,100 employees, are looking at 24 of you, that you will come up with some solutions after this program. And they're waiting for you. And when I said this, one positive person, so the rule of average prevails everywhere. So if you have a gathering of 20, 20, 30 people, at least one will be positive. Always believe that and play on that positive emotions. So this gentleman said, sir, can I tell you a story? So I said, yes, please go ahead. He told me a story of miracle. He said there was a small little girl. Her brother, younger brother, was suffering from cancer. And one day she heard her parents talking that we can't save him. Only miracle can save him because we don't have so much of money which we can spend on operating him. So what she did, she took her piggy kind of bank. She broke it, whatever coins were there, and she went to a medical store. And there she says, uncle, can you give me miracle? And the shopkeeper didn't know. She said, my child, what do you want? She said, no, uncle, I want a miracle. Otherwise, my brother will not survive. My parents were talking yesterday. And there was an elderly person standing by the side of her, and he said, my child, will you tell me exactly what has happened? Can you take me home? So she took this elderly person home, and he happened to be a renowned surgeon. And the story says, he operated the child, and the child was cured. And he says, will you give me your piggy bank? I have given you a miracle. Believe me, when he told this story, entire lot of 25 got charged up that yes, we were responsible towards our company. And the remaining 1.5 days turned out to be the best training program for us in our career. Just one thought can turn entire thing positive. That's the power of emotions, in fact. And you don't need a qualified person to do it more technically, but I think experience what brings out of you the positive use of emotions.
Yes.
Like this, I can give 100 examples like this.
That is true.
So we have interacted with ma'am. She knows how negative things can be turned into positive.
Those are actually wonderful sessions.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Vikas ji, for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'll again request you have my email ID in case anybody
Yes,
has. Most welcome to write to me anytime. I may not be able to take your calls, but I definitely respond to the mails.
That's true. But as they say that one lit of the matchbox can actually show the light in the entire black tunnels and the dark alleys. And the same way during these testing times, I'm quite sure that the session on emotions and efficiency would be fully charged up, and especially during today's festive day, the emotions and efficiency would be much better. There would be more harmony and more peace towards each other. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe. And thank you, Professor Dr. Raj Singh. We are actually indebted the way you have shown us the right path and the right thought process. And before we part for the day, tomorrow we will be having a master class on venture capital documentation, key concepts under the shareholder agreement by Amrita Salyan, a partner in Lakshmi Kumaran and Sridharan. We all know that she had a webinar last week. So do stay connected tomorrow at 4 p.m. Everyone stay safe, stay blessed, and enjoy the festive mood, and especially the Karwa.